for tuning into Wide Eyes, a podcast made to uplift and educate others about the Asian American community. My name is Katie.
I'm new.
And this is a new Happy Women's History Month. And so in this episode, we are going to talk about women who have impacted our lives, barriers we have faced being Asian American women, and the importance of recognizing strong female role models in your life. But before we start with this episode, I just want to say happy 1 year anniversary. Oh my God.
I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I'm clapping.
I heard it.
Yay!
All right. Okay. Yay to our 1 year of White Eyes.
Yeah. I think this is like such a perfect kind of thing, because Women History Month, but also marking our 1 year anniversary. And I think it just kind of came full circle, like it's crazy. It's been 1 year. I think we've all grown so much from this experience. And I can't wait to see where this takes us. All right. So, New and Katie, who are some female role models, like maybe an influencer, someone who's impacted your educational journey, maybe a family member, any female really, who has impacted your life in some way, shape, or form?
So some female role models who has impacted my life in some shape or form. Well, in the education aspect, I will have to mention Dr. Yi. She is someone who serves as the coordinator of the Higher Education Administration and Leadership. Oh my God, I feel like I'm gonna butcher the name, but it's the HEAL graduate program at Fresno State that I have an interest in. And for me, seeing someone else as a first generation student paving their own path was not only aspiring to me, but it empowered me to continue my academic journey as a scholar. And not just that, but I'm like so grateful to have her as my mentor, because she was my mentor for this McNair program that I was in. Not only that, but I love the work that she contributes to the Southeast Asian community. And as a member of this community, there are rarely any scholarly work done. So I am proud to be represented through Dr. Yi. And then the second artist that I will like to mention is, another female role model that I like to mention is an artist, and her name is CL, and she is from 21, and I've been following this group way back when I was in elementary school. And not to mention, but her recent album Alpha was just everything to me. It was basically like a symbol of creative independency, because she left her old company and now she's her own independent badass boss bitch. And I love the energy, the fire, and empowerment that she was trying to reflect through that album, and she really delivered. And I'm just like, yeah. So those are my two female role models. Now let's go on to Anu or Katie.
Shout out to CL because I love her as well. Shout out to her song "Lover Like Me." I really like that song.
Yes, I love her songs. Lover Like Me. Yes.
But besides that, I thought long and hard about this question. Honestly, I don't really have a female role model. I would say if I have to name one, I would definitely name Mrs. Zhang. She was my fourth grade teacher, and I will say she impacted me a lot in the educational aspect. I wasn't the brightest student growing up or the smartest, or I wasn't a good kid. I was a little bit bad, a little bit naughty, but Mrs. John, she straightened me up. She was that one teacher that really cared for all her students. Till this day, I still remember her, and she is someone who I look up to. And coincidentally, she is also Asian American, which I don't think that should matter, but I feel like seeing someone who looks like me, kind of like showing a representation. I think at the time, me being young, I didn't really care much about representation, right? Because I was just a fourth grader, so I didn't know much about myself. But growing up now, I think seeing someone who is just like me, it means a lot to me, because I don't see a lot of people who look like me. So I feel like Mrs. Zhang, she impacted my life a lot. But besides that, I do want to move over to New. Any of your female role models?
My mommy. Oh, I love my mom so much. She's amazing. I have no idea how she was. I don't know how she does what she does. So I would have to say, Mom, I love you. Shout outs to you. You're amazing. And if I could be half of the woman you are today, I will have, I would consider myself lucky and I have succeeded in life. But yeah, so my mom is like my rock, my best friend, and I'm just so happy to have her in my life. But besides that, an educator I would say has really impacted me, outside of the my like immediate family. I'd have to say Dr. Bond. um oh, Dr. Bond's amazing. She hypes us up so much. And she's very supportive in my academic career, and she makes sure that I don't settle for less. She pushes me to make sure that, one, I don't let people walk all over me. Two, I, don't let, to make sure like if I hit like if I'm facing a hill, she just keeps pushing me to make sure like I pass that hill and make it over to the pond with the beautiful fishes so I can see that beautiful scenery. And so I just say as an educator, Dr. Bond has been very impactful and beneficial, and has really made a huge impact in my academic career and endeavors. And then as another supporter that I have found at Fresno State also is Melissa Norris. Melissa, I don't know how you do it, but she just does it. And so she has constantly, time and time again, she's helped me grow as an individual, to learn how to accept myself for who I am, and to learn how to, reach out for resources when I need it. And she's also her she's my go-to for letter of recs too, so thank you for that. I feel like I'm bugging her every other week for a letter of recommendation, but she's also a very big supporter in making sure that, my dreams, and my goals become a reality. And so, Mom, Dr. Vaughn, and Melissa, thank you so much for supporting me like unconditionally. And so, thank you all. With that said, there's a siren in the back, so hopefully, you guys don't hear it. I'm over here jamming to it. But so now that you've kind of heard a little bit more about some female role models who have impacted us, New and Katie, how does having these female role models contribute to the AAPI woman you are today?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go. I feel like with the people and the type of music that I surround myself with, it's like a ball of like positive energy that affects me, positively as the Asian American woman I am today. And it just gives me different perspectives and a new understanding to how certain people think a certain way, but also at the same time to be able to relate with those individuals either on a personal or professional level. So for me, like my mentor was Dr. Yi as an educator perspective into the different perspective of an artist and how someone's music could relate to me in a personal way. So yeah, so that's just my take on that.
As for me, I want to like talk a little about representation, because I feel like I said earlier, right? Little old me being fourth grade, I didn't know much about representation, but growing up, I feel like representation truly matters, because I don't know, like when I see someone who looks like me and I see the things that they accomplish or conquer, it made me feel like, oh, I can do the same thing like them, or maybe not like same thing, but like I can reach my goals just like how they did that. So for me, I feel like it's a accumulation of everything growing up that I do see, right? And when I see someone who looks like me and they can do that, it makes me feel that, oh, I can do that as well. So um I would just say representation truly matters, because growing up, I didn't thought that I could do that, right? But I feel like going to college and being exposed to other Asian American women, that helped me a lot, just being surrounded by like amazing people and women. And that truly helped me feel like, oh, if they can do it, then I can do it. So I feel like by just having that little push or being exposed to people and things that I didn't know that I can do helped a lot. How about you, Anu?
Yeah, so my mom, she has allowed me to accept myself. She has allowed me to just be okay with like where I'm at personally. And you don't have to like necessarily, conquer the world at your age of 22. And so she's really been helpful in allowing me to just be okay with who I am. Dr. Bond, not that she's not okay, but she wants to see me, do the best that I can academically. And so, not saying that obviously my mom, she wants me to succeed too, but Dr. Bond, she supported me in a way of, making sure that I realize that, as an Asian American woman, we're gonna get stereotyped. We're gonna get, pushback. Yeah. So she she makes sure that I understand that, like, as an Asian American woman, you're gonna have to fight for your place, because no one's going to, you know, give you your job or give you your degree on a silver platter. Like, you have to make sure that you fight for your right to stand at the same level, same playing field as, white males, or as, just a white person in general. And then Melissa, she has supported me in allowing me to, once again, like, reach out for resources and learn how to reach out for resources, and learning how to be okay with, just asking for help. Because Melissa's a health educator at our Student Health and Counseling Center at Fresno State. And so she's really taught me how to, like, just be okay with asking for help. And if you need help, like, she's there for you. And so as an API woman, today, my mom, she's kind of eased my tension of, I don't have to succeed and I don't have to conquer the world by 20, like a lot of Asian American families. Like, I feel like for Asian Americans, like, if you don't have a family, if you don't have your degree, and if you don't have, like, if you're not established in your career by 30, like, you're basically a nobody. Like, you're leftovers, you're not important, and you're not an ideal woman, right? But, like, come on, if I wanted to, like, if I was gonna get my doctorate, that's gonna be like at least in my late 20s, right? Early 30s, the latest. And so you can't expect me to, have my life completely figured out, family and everything by 30. That's just impossible. So my mom's really, she's let me know that, it's okay. It's your timeline, screw what everyone else thinks. Just do you. And so these three women have really impacted me as an AAPI woman, and helps build me as an AAPI woman. And so I'm just, once again, I'm so thankful for you three, and extra shout outs to my mom. I love you, Mom. Okay, anyways, barriers. And so what are some barriers you faced as a woman? For example, have you guys faced discrimination, imposter syndrome, or maybe some form of inferiority? And so maybe I can go first for this one, just because, shake things up a little bit. Okay, so for this one, I have some barriers I faced as a woman. For sure, it is I don't have a lot of self-confidence in myself. Obviously, I'm very confident in Anu, who Anu is, right? I'm pretty confident. Still figuring myself out, but I'm pretty confident. But, like, when it comes to, like, being surrounded by, like, all of these other amazing individuals, it's really hard to, it's really hard to say, like, I deserve to be on this field, on this same platform as every individual, because, to be honest, like, you're the only one who looks like you. A lot of these, like, just for example, maybe I'll just use, what's called, because Fresno State is pretty diverse, but I'll just use the STEM field, right? Being in a classroom, like the Fresno State, anyway, so, like, if you look at, like, as a STEM person, like the biology department at Fresno State, like, we only have one Asian faculty member. And he's and nothing wrong with being a dude, but he's a male, right? And then the few faculty members we do have as female, they're all white. And then, I think we have, like, one Jewish but very, very few who look like me. And so when I'm, in a classroom and I constantly see teachers and professors who don't look like me, and then I look around and I see, classmates who don't look like me, and it's kind of like, maybe I don't belong here, like maybe did I choose the wrong, major, because I'm social work, is flooded with Asians, and maybe I should have chose social work instead, and so yes, I have definitely faced some form of inferiority and imposter syndrome, just because you don't have a lot of leaders who look like you, specifically Asian and woman, right? And so yeah, that's just my little rant. What about you, New or Katie?
Yeah, I'll go next. And barriers we face as being a woman, I feel like being a Hmong woman, especially, we are constantly like bending our backs for our family, and we have it difficult, to break free from the traditional norms or the mold of what a Hmong woman is supposed to be like. And I'm sure that it's different for other AAPI women out there. And as Anu mentioned about imposter syndrome too, I personally have encountered imposter syndrome going into college. And I don't know how many times, but I constantly before would doubt my potential, like if I was good enough or why I'm not good enough, or just to question like who I am, like and what career I'm going to. But I'm so glad that I went through that experience, because I feel like my imposter syndrome is still within me, but I have learned to embrace it, because my imposter syndrome that I went through from the beginning of my college journey and to now has made the person that I am today. So yeah, what about you, Katie?
As for me, I think I had a very hard time like growing up, like comparing myself to others. I would say like particularly women. I just realized that because sometimes I see others like happiness or success, and I like compare my success or happiness with them. And like growing up, right, like I didn't thought of it much, right? But as I grew older, I realized that just by comparing myself, it's really unhealthy. Like I don't think that that's how I should even live, right? Like just compare myself to others. And it took me kind of quite a while to not do that, but it's still, I feel like I can't say this for everyone, but I know, like around the world, sometimes we compare ourselves to others. It may stem from different things, but for me, right, like whenever I compare myself to others, I always thought like, oh, I wish I could be like them, or I wish I could be as the amount of, percentage like they are, like just comparing their success with my success. And I think I don't think now looking back, in hindsight, I don't think there's nothing wrong with comparing myself in a sense where I feel like there's an individual that I look up to, right? But I feel like the way I was doing it, it was unhealthy. It made me feel lesser of myself. So that's what I came to learn. But I feel like just with social media and everything, right? Like what the mainstream like world put on, like women should look like this, women should be like this, right? It's hard to not compare yourself, right? It's kind of like it's out there. So you know, you're bound to compare yourself in some way, shapes, or form. But I just learned along the way that there's, how do I put this in words? Comparing myself to others, it kind of like growing up, it made me have like a sense of awareness, right? That, oh, like this is something that I'm doing and it's not healthy, and I should like go to counseling, which I did, went to counseling for that. Go to counseling, get like kind of just like learn more about it. Like what about it that it like made me think like that, or what does this stem from, right? So doing that has helped me a lot grow as a woman, right? And I feel like what better way to like transition to our next like question, where how can we uplift other women, right? So for me, right, just talking about comparing myself to women, I learned that it's okay, right, to look up to women, because I feel like we should look up to women, and we should look up to anyone that we feel that, they're inspiring, empowering, maybe something that they do, I can like implement the way I do, not to say that I'm copying them, but maybe I see them doing so great in this that I kind of want to like maybe like learn a little bit from them, like, right? So I feel like for me, a way I can uplift women is just supporting women, right? Being there for them. Just I feel like do less talking and more listening, because I feel sometimes we forget to do that most of the time, right? So like I said, just being there for a woman. But how about you, Anu or New?
I completely agree with you, Katie, because I love it when we women support one another, because it honestly takes a village to succeed, and no one has it all figured out and like do everything on their own. And if you are someone that does have it all figured out, props to you, because I'm still struggling and trying to figure myself out. But like, to uplift like one another as females, I simply just think to just honor and accept each other's differences. And within that community, we are able to empower one another to just fearlessly be the leaders or the individuals that we are meant to be all along.
Yeah, and I think it's so important to uplift each other. You just have to hype each other up. Don't tear each other down. You can't. Because when you get to like, and I, not that I hate, but I'm always going back into like the STEM field, just because I see this the most. But like when you're in a field that's dominated by men, like you can't, no one's gonna relate to you. You have to build the community. You have to build, bonds with other females, because who's gonna have your back when you want to advance in your career, or when you want to find some sort of community and mentors, or friendship, right? Like I I always had, and I say this because I used to be that individual. Not that I didn't want anything to do with women, but I grew up with like a family of boys. And I related to boys a lot just because that's who I grew up with. But like growing up, I started realizing, like, when you start, going through your menstrual cycle, when you start, getting a chest, when you start going through all of these female changes, or struggles as a woman, right? Maybe you face sexism, discrimination for being a woman. It's really hard to relate to and talk to, like, a group of boys. It's just hard. They don't understand it. Yeah, so that's why it's so important to have a community, so that you can, have powwows with one another, vent your frustrations with one another. And honestly, like, if you're just having a bad day, like, just, you know crawl up into a little ball on a couch, and eat some ice cream and cry your eyes out, or maybe go punch a punching bag together or something to vent your frustration. and
Yes, I
and
agree.
exactly,
I
right.
agree with you, Anu.
And it's just it just feels so great to have another individual who understands your struggles. Like, I can't like emphasize that enough. When me and my mom, we started talking about just what it is to be like a Hmong American woman, and the struggles that we face. Like, I thought it was just me. Like, sometimes, the community says some sexist things, and we have some sexist, like, rituals and like cultural stuff. And it's just like, am I the only one who thinks this? But once I started getting older and having these conversations with my mom, she's like, oh no, like, this is just how it is, and it's your job to change it, because obviously these older generations, they're not going to change, just because it's just ingrained in them. That's how they grew up, which, once again, nothing wrong with that, because that's how they were taught. But she was we started having these conversations, and she was telling me, like, that's why you need to find a community. And so when I was able to relate with my mom on, like, you know what it means to be a woman, like, we just got that much closer. But yeah, it was so great to be able to just find an individual. And if you haven't found that person yet too, there's three of us right here. Don't be afraid to reach out. Feel free to, DM us. If you're comfortable, let us know in the comments. But yeah, it's so important to find a community. And shout outs to you and Katie. Like, once I found we started doing this podcast, it's just like, oh, I have these two to text whenever, something funny happens, or whenever I see something cool on Instagram about Asian Americans that I want to share to someone. Like, I have these two individuals. And so it's very important to find a community and don't tear each other down. You have to hype each other up. All right. So with that said, this wraps up our conversation for the month of March. We can't wait to chat with you all in the next episode. Feel free to check us out on Instagram at Wide Eyes Podcast.